Now, if you have a wedding to go to this weekend, two things. One, no, you don't. Two, you need to have a serious conversation about the state of that friendship or the state of of your relationship with that family member. This is a massive weekend of college football, and I feel sorry for the people that are attending weddings this year or this weekend. Super happy for the people that are getting married. However, this is a terrible decision to get married during the fall. I don't know why people do it. One of the games that we've already talked about is number 4 LSU at number 13 Ole Miss. Ole Miss is actually favored. In terms of rankings, in terms of what the AP poll says, they're the technical underdogs. They're ranked 13th. LSU is ranked fourth, but it is in Oxford. Ole Miss is a 1.5 point favorite. It's essentially a pick 'em. One of the great storylines coming out of this game is the fact that Lane Kiffin is the head coach for Ole Miss. His daughter decided to hard launch a relationship with LSU linebacker Whit Weeks, who is one of the best linebackers in college football. She decided to hard launch that relationship this week, the week of the game against LSU. So funny. So funny. What makes it funnier is that Lane Kiffin decides to comment on Twitter below that hard launch, below that post, and says, take the over. Over's at 54 and a half. Lane Kiffin is a guy of his word. Guy's an offensive genius. Take the over. Like I said, I'm very excited about Trinidad Chambliss. Pretty sure he's going to end up starting. I'd probably start him again, even if Austin Simmons was healthy. I'm super excited about Trinidad Chambliss and this Rebel offense. The offense is ridiculous. Ever since they started implementing all of this Briles stuff, this Briles tree veer and shoot system, they've been nearly unstoppable. The passing game is really what has showed up. 33% of their passes this year have gone over 20 yards. When a third of your passes are explosive plays, that's a winning business model. I'm not convinced that LSU can get the deal done after an underwhelming wins all season. Yes, they're undefeated, but you go look at their wins, and they are one possession wins over, one or two, one, two, there's a 10-point win in there. They're not very convincing wins. I wouldn't be very, they had a 10-1 point against Florida. Florida's head coach might get fired by the end of the year. I don't know. Somebody, a booster gave up $21 million to buy him out. So I'm going to pick Ole Miss in this one to win outright and obviously cover. You could probably give me 3.5 points on Ole Miss, and I'd say they'd probably cover still. And who am I to argue with Lane Kiffin? Guy says take the over, take the over. Next game we're going to talk about number 6 Oregon at number 3 Penn State. Penn State is a 3.5 point favorite in this one. This is a whiteout game. This is a whiteout game in Happy Valley. Penn State has won 8 of the last 10 whiteout games, and I'm pretty sure they have won at least the last 6. James Franklin has an abysmal record against top 10 teams. He is 4-20. Yes, you heard that right. He is 4-20. Drew Aller has been underwhelming. He has only 6 throws over 20 yards this year. Again, explosive plays. We saw this Penn State team lose in the college football playoff, rushing for like 300 yards and lose. Penn State hasn't been challenged yet. Neither has Oregon. However, I trust Dan Lanning more than I trust James Franklin. Believe it or not, I think when you look at Dan Lanning is quickly becoming probably the best coach in college football. I'll say it. He's at least top three. He's a program builder. He's part of that Nick Saban tree. He is a program builder. Big fan of Dante Moore. Big fan of that defense. I'm picking Oregon to win the game outright. I know Penn State is a 3.5 point favorite. I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to do it. I'm picking Oregon to win the game outright. Next one, second to last game that we're going to talk about this week. Number 17, Alabama at number 5, Georgia. Georgia is again, 3.5 point favorite. Let's be honest. Alabama has been suspect since Kalen DeBoer has come into town. Yes, it's incredibly difficult to follow in the footsteps of the greatest college football coach of all time, but you still have the athletes, you still have the resources that Saban had. You have the keys to the car. You just can't crash it. That was more so specific to last year. This year is just, I mean, I'm not impressed. I can't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago where Dan Orlovsky, he was looking at the Alabama film from that week, and he counted over 20 loafs on film. And now, if you're unfamiliar with what a loaf is, that is generally a play where a player is walking on the field when a play is still going. It's basically just a lack of effort. It is a visible lack of effort on a play. This is what a loaf is. There were 20 of those for Alabama. Can you imagine what 20 loafs would look like on an Alabama team coached by Nick Saban? No, you can't because it doesn't happen. The title line came into the season with expectations that they would be in contention for the best offensive line in the country. They were on the Joe Moore Award watch list for a reason, but they have been exceptionally underwhelming, especially the tackle positions and especially Caden Proctor. He looked rough to start the beginning of the season. I'm not a guy who is going to come, Barn Burner Sports is supposed to be the player's platform for sports, for talking about sports, for giving their story. We will always be on the player side because nobody else will be. However, we have to be objective. We can't say that we can't say that it's good when it's not. And Caden Proctor, who was supposed to be and might still be, a first round pick by the end of the season, he has not looked great, and the offensive line hasn't looked great either. With that being said, Ty Simpson has looked pretty damn good for what he's going through right now. He has 9 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, doesn't turn the ball over. And despite the struggles along the O line, and despite the fact that they have the 102nd ranked rushing attack in the country when it comes to rushing yards per game, Ty Simpson looks really good. Georgia's also very good. Georgia's going to win. It's at Georgia. Georgia's the better team. They're coming off of a phenomenal overtime win over Tennessee. Georgia's going to win this game. I don't think Alabama as a program is in position to start winning these big games consistently. Georgia for the win, probably going to cover. The last game that we will talk about is the one that I'm most excited about. The FCS game of the week. I don't know, but most of you guys are probably turning off the podcast, turning off the video, but I'm always excited to talk about my alma mater. That's why I got the hat on right now. Number 5, Montana plays number 8, Idaho this week. No, it is not at the Kibby Dome. It is in Washington Grizzly Stadium. We are playing a 9:15 Central Time kickoff in the mecca of college football. Yes, I said college football, not just FCS football. It's by far the best matchup in the FCS this week. I mean, it's number 5 versus number 8, and one of the best and the best venue in FCS football. It is the loudest stadium in FCS football. It's one of the top 10 loudest stadiums in college football, period. And you can go look that up. That's true. Montana has the best running back in the FCS. One of the best running backs, period, in America, Eli Gilman. Uh, Guy is averaging like 9 yards a carry, 400 yards rushing, playing like 2.5. I think there's more game there. He's played more games this year where he's played less than 3 quarters than he has 4 quarters. So that just tells you they just came off a 63-20 drubbing of Indiana State last week. And He might have had 10 touches, 120 yards. It was ridiculous. 3 touchdowns. Go look him up. Eli Gilman, absolute stud. Khalil Ayat is the starting quarterback for the University of Montana. He's the son of the second best quarterback in the history of Montana football, Brian Ayat. First is Dave Dickinson. Um, Khalil has hit a career high in passing yards in 4 straight starts, and he's really hitting his stride. He's a young guy that came in when I was still there, when he was a freshman. Did kind of a rotating quarterback thing last year where he would start a few games and then another, Logan Fife would start a few games and he would come in. It was just kind of a spiraling staircase of, that's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. It was two quarterbacks rotating in and out all year. Now that he is the starting quarterback and he has taken every snap except garbage time this season, you can really see that he's hitting his stride. Idaho has been an incredibly competitive program over the last 3 to 4 years. I mean, they've gone toe to toe with FBS programs. They had Oregon on their toes, I believe it was last year, until late, and they've made deep playoff runs the last 2 years, vying for that semi. I think they lost them. They ended up losing in the quarterfinals both years. They didn't end up making it in the semifinals, but they've made two deep playoff runs the last 2 years. This is going to be a great game. It's a great atmosphere. These are two great teams. It's another thing. If you guys are unaware of what FCS football is, it's fun. This is fun. This is the battle for the Little Brown Stein. The Little Brown Stein. There's this big old stein that they have for this. This is a huge rivalry game for both squads, even though they don't play every year, which is kind of unfortunate. But it's going to be a great game. Don't know what the lines are. Don't know if they've come out with them yet. However, Grizz by a million. That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys listening and tuning in to Barn Burner Sports Network, talking about college football. We will see you soon.